speak both Bengali and English because he has to speak English when he goes to daycare and school and with his friends in Australia. And that's true for families all over the world. I've got families in Sweden whose Swedish is their first language, and they also speak English because their kids learn them in school, and it's another sort of national language. So the parents were, I talk to them in English and coach the parents, and they teach their kids in Swedish. So it's incredibly effective because all the teaching comes from the parents, and who better to teach kids their natural life skills than their parents. So that's how it's been so successful.
Excellent, excellent. This is eye-opening too. About what percent do you think of children? Do you know any? I don't want to catch you off guard or anything here, but
Sure.
Is there like a spectrum that you go through? I mean, like what percent of children at age 2 are talking, or 3 talking a lot, or do you have any kind of diagnosis?
Sure.
Done?
So. Yeah, so I mean, if your child is 2 years old and not saying 50 words regularly that they're using and putting 2-word combinations together, that means they're a late talker. And see, 1 in 8 2-year-olds is a late talker. So there's lots and lots of these late talking kids out there. And like I said, there are hundreds of different things that can cause this late talking. Anything from, prematurity, ear infections, but, it doesn't even have to be a physiological thing. It can be things like tablet addiction, technology addiction, kids who spend a lot of time alone without parents talking to them because they have to learn, kids naturally learn from parents talking. There can be trauma, even if there's a new little sibling in the house and a child gets less attention than they used to. They can have regression in skills, including talking. So that's what I'm able to do with sort of every single family that I work with in my one-on-one programs and my face-to-face programs is, analyze what it was that caused their child to be late talking and what it is that's causing them to continue to be late talking, like what's blocking this natural verbal language development that's supposed to happen between moms and kids. And when I identify what those blockages are for a parent, and they stop doing those things and they shift their modeling of their behavior, the kids talk every single time.
Excellent. Well, that's eye-opening. It really is, and it's very informative on a number of issues here involving this area. What have been some of your more challenging situations that you have faced, and like a difficult situation trying to get through, and what techniques have you been able to use? Can you share any of those?
So I can, actually the biggest challenge for me, Steve, because I am a parent coach, is when a parent won't give up their current habits, okay? So it really doesn't even have much to do with the kids, because kids do get in habits, like they get used to getting things on their own instead of their parents letting their parents help them. Like they quit even asking for help. It happens a lot when parents do that withholding and making their kids talk all day. Kids start to really not like that, and they start to withdraw from their parents. And so all the learning their parents are trying to do, their kids don't like it because they don't like the pressure. It's kind of like you wouldn't like it very much if all day long somebody was saying, you're not doing that quite right, you need to do more. You're not, I know you said one word to ask for that thing, but could you say a phrase now? I'm not going to give you that thing until you do more. Say a phrase or say, I want that please, or, that kind of stuff. And an occasional reminder is okay. But what happens so much with parents of late talking kids, especially after they get to be 3 years old, is it's the parent's mindset that gets stuck in panic mode, and their fear sets in, and they think my child's never going to talk unless I make them talk. Because that's, again, how a lot of us learn to do things. Our parents said, do this, and you have to do it, and that's what we do. And when late talkers don't like the intervention that their parents are doing with them over and over again, and they start to withdraw from them, parents put on the pressure more. and which actually makes the child repel more. It's kind of like a magnet, you know. If you're doing the right kind, if you're attracting the right kind of vibe, then the child's going to be right there along with you, learning from you. But if you're doing the wrong kind of vibe, it's like if you turn the magnet around and you're actually repelling the child away. So what happens to a lot of parents is they get out the puzzle or the book or the flashcards or whatever it is that their therapist told them to try to do with their kids, and their kids don't want to have anything to do with it. And maybe when their kids were little, they used to have fun reading time or play toys together. But after they started this hardcore speech therapy work at home, their kids suddenly don't like to play with their parents. And that's why I talk about it as being a blockage to the natural learning. So the most challenging cases are when parents have a hard time looking at themselves to see the kind of habits that they're doing that they need to change, and give up their fear and trust in the method that their kids actually naturally have inside of them. And sometimes it's really tough for parents to give up those prompting methods, especially if they got sucked into that misdiagnosis of of autism, and they get going into this ABA, which is behavior training. And the clinicians and businesses, it's a business, who operate these behavior intervention clinics for kids with autism, they're all over the world. And they're charging parents all this money to do behavior-based training to teach kids skills using rewards, just like you teach an animal, like a dog or something like that, with a reward system. And the kids get addicted to the rewards, and they also get in the habit of waiting for someone else to prompt them through their life. And they stop listening to natural verbal speech, which is what they need to do to develop it. And so the most challenging cases are parents who maybe have paid for this kind of therapy for a year because their doctor or somebody told them to do it, and their kids are really stuck in this system, and they have to look at their situation hardcore and say, is it really helping your child talk? And most of the time it's not, because nobody's teaching natural language. They're just teaching these exchange things and behaviors. And so the parents say, no, my child's not talking. But they have to make the mental shift from, I invested in this other method and it didn't work, and now it's time to shift and do something different. And that's the same shift that a late talking child has to make. I've been, using gestures and dragging mom around, and mom's been guessing what I want my whole life. And now they want to shift and start to use words. So that mindset shift in a parent, to shift from making my child to talk to teaching my child to talk, is a big, important thing that happens. And the only parents who are not successful in this method are parents who can't make that shift, Steve. So of the 60, there's probably been 56 families who now have signed up in my Waves of Communication program, and of them, all but 3 families have been able to get their kids talking. And those 3 families quit my program because they wouldn't stop the prompting. They couldn't stop doing it. And the other families who did stop, who were in those therapies and they started doing this language facilitation at home, they all dropped those therapies because they themselves as parents are getting faster speech and language development from their children than those autism therapies ever did. And that's the fact. So that's the most challenging situation. Yeah.
What would you say? Well, I think you just gave me the percentage I was looking for. So that's a very high percentage. Then listen, we're about to run out of time here. We've got about a minute and a half or so to wrap up. I want you to summarize some of your thoughts here in the next minute and a half, if you could. Okay.
Okay, so if you are out there and there's a late talking child in your life, like I said, there's 1 in 8 children who are late talking. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is check out my information. My platform is called Waves of Communication, waves like in the ocean, Waves of Communication. And you can look on my website, and there's actually a free class for parents, a 45-minute class that you can watch that explains this whole process, Steve. And parents can go on there and they can learn about what causes late talking in children, what keeps kids stuck in their nonverbal communication patterns and what keeps parents stuck in that mindset that I talked about. And it also explains exactly what you need to do to be able to work out of those mindset things. And in addition to that, I have a YouTube channel with 170 videos, Steve, that I do to explain these things exactly. So you can just look for Waves of Communication on YouTube and see 170 different videos that talk about everything from why you shouldn't get an autism diagnosis to why ear infections look like autism, what parents need to do, and there are even demonstration strategies. It's my mission this summer, Steve, to help as many parents as possible teach their late talking children how to talk this summer. And the information that's on my website and my YouTube channel, parents can do that. So if you're one of those parents, 1 in 8 kids who's late talking, or you know someone who has a late talking child, and you want to give them some idea of where to go to get resources. Facebook, Waves of Communication, YouTube, Waves of Communication, and if you Google Waves of Communication, you can go to my website. And you can see testimonials from the parents that I talked about. You can see blog articles from me. There is so much information you could binge watch. But there is enough information in those videos for parents to get going and started right away.
Give me that
so that's my recommendation.
Give me the website.
It's Waves
of Communication.
Yeah, wavesofcommunication.com. Waves are like in the ocean, and it's energy waves because I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist, and it is my mission to help as many parents as possible because you as parents are the best language facilitators, better than any therapy. In 29 years of therapy as a therapist, I couldn't get these outcomes like parents can. And I want you to know that it's not only beneficial, but necessary that you do it. So check out wavesofcommunication.com and you can learn all about it.
Okay, thank you, Marci. We're out of time, and I hope to talk with you again sometime. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again, Steve. It was a pleasure. Have a great day.